Welcome everyone to another episode of Tutorial Tuesday. It is week 25, 2019. I'm glad that you're along with us. Hey, today I'm going to be broadcasting from the road as I head out to South Dakota for my annual photography workshop. I'll be out at the DX Ranch with Jen and Zach, and I'm looking forward to meeting everybody that's coming. Travel safe, and we'll see you when you get there. Now, I have one announcement, and that is I need to give a big plug and a big shout out to Paisley's Grass-Fed Beef. These guys right here. Now, they're sending out a case of beef jerky with me to the workshop, and they're a local company that's supporting our local ranchers, and I'll tell you what, supporting local never tasted so good. So go ahead, give them a follow, and buy some of their beef jerky. With that, let's get right into your questions. When I started out, I thought I needed every lens under the sun, and there's a good handful of lenses that I use in my everyday photography. But starting out, of course, budget is a concern, and you want the best that you can get. Now, all of that said, as a beginning photographer, budget is definitely a concern. So the best lens that you can buy would be the 50mm f1.8, reasonable in cost, super sharp, and it forces you to zoom in and out with your feet. You know, this is one of those questions that we could talk about all day long, and there's a few things that come to mind, but I can tell you a minute or a 2-minute response really doesn't do this justice, but we'll hit those bullet points. The first thing I'll tell you is this: you have to make a commitment to yourself on getting yourself out there, and today, more than any other time in history, we can make a quick impact and reach millions of people with social media. So to summarize the first bullet point, that is, use social media to your advantage. You have the opportunity to reach millions of people, and you want to do that by being consistent about who you are and what your message is as a photographer. The second thing is niche down. If you like Western, shoot Western. If you like, soap, shoot soap. Whatever it is, niche down and do the best at it. So maybe after you shoot a ton of soap, you realize, I don't like shooting soap. And so you change your palette. You go on and you find something else that you do like to shoot. And it gives you an opportunity to explore your creativity. Now, the one thing that can never be overlooked in a question like this is the power of meeting somebody face to face. And that is going out, giving a business card, shaking hands, and telling people what you do. Nothing will beat shoe leather marketing. With this question, what I presume you're talking about is letting the camera choose my focal point, and if not, the other side of that would be turning the dial on my lens to achieve focus. Now, for me, it's a rare day that I'm actually turning the focal ring on my lens. I let the camera do that, but as far as floating my focal point and choosing the actual area that I'm focusing on, I do that 100%. Depending on whether or not somebody's dragging a calf to the fire, it depends on whether or not I'll be laying down. Most of the time, I'm either on my knees or I'm sitting on my butt or something like that to get these images. So for those of you that may not be aware, what we're talking about is micro-adjusting our cameras and lenses together. And that setting is in Canon and Nikon's, and you can do that in pretty much all the newer cameras right now. So in short, without getting all photo nerdy and that kind of stuff, what you're doing is you're setting your focal point. So if you're focused right there, what would happen is your camera focuses here or here, and you're adjusting it appropriately. Now, all of that said, plus 17 seems pretty aggressive to me, and I suspect there might be something else going on, and you may want to consider sending that lens or your body or both into Canon or Nikon professional services. So I think some of the things that we have to do first is define what these things are. So a freelance photographer is someone that takes on multiple jobs from multiple different people or multiple different businesses. That would be me. An entrepreneur is someone that has multiple business interests and takes on financial risk. Now, not every photographer is an entrepreneur. On the other hand, I would consider myself an entrepreneur because not only am I self-employed photographer, I also have multiple interests and financial risk in several different other companies as well. The comedy portion, now these are always fun. What's the secret to a full and luscious beard? eating paisleys, of course, and also just letting it grow and taking on questions like these. Okay, this is the second time that I've been asked this, and just so you know, I'm sitting very comfortably in the passenger seat while my wife, Jo, is driving. So thank you for your concern. I promise you I'm not texting or recording and driving. I don't use filters much, although I do have a polarizer in my bag. If I needed to work on a project where I needed to reduce reflections in a surface or something like that, then I'd pull out my polarizer, but in general, I don't use it. You know, when you're first starting out, it's really intimidating setting your pricing out there. Now, after 11 plus years out in the industry, I can look back and pick apart some things that I did wrong. Number one is, in the beginning, my prices were too high, and I didn't have the confidence to support those prices. What I would recommend to you is price to your confidence level, and you have to be honest with yourself. If you are not at a professional level, don't price at a professional's level. But if you have the confidence and talent and expertise to go out and execute a great image, regardless of the situation that you find yourself in, then you can absolutely set your price for that. And you want to set your price so that you can continue to develop relationships on into the future. For me, this is kind of a two-faceted answer to this question, and that is, on the creative side, staying motivated was getting out and photographing new things and keeping myself challenged. On the business side of things, I had to learn to love it. And what I mean by that is learning to sell yourself, learning to close a deal, and learning to move on to the next, and also learning how to say no. These are, as you develop in this craftsmanship and the art and the creativeness of photography, even on the business side, you have to be prepared to continually do for you and create projects for yourself. Well, who doesn't love a little hashtag camera nerdy stuff? Off-camera flash, a couple things. Number one, using it and balancing with natural light. Remember that your shutter speed controls the ambient light, and your aperture will control the power of the light. Am I going to teach you how to be hashtag more Western? Hell no, that's why I brought Jo. She's going to teach you how to be more Western. Favorite lenses? Yes, absolutely. Number one, creatively, my 16-35 f2.8 version 3. Number two, my 70-200 f2.8 IS version 2.